Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi, the Division II Legendary, Roosevelt Island. So, I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4. I decided to run some Division II. Roosevelt, you know I always go over to this side. I ran a little bit forward. I probably went in front of the group. Fourth person just got in a little bit late. I didn't look at the levels of the group, but we got someone that just made, level 40. They're watch level 1. And another guy's less than 1,000. Another guy's right near 1,000. Still should be okay. I think I mentioned in a different video recently that it's not as challenging in the division to run legendaries. It's some of the toughest content unless you want to raid. Raiding's kind of hard because you got to get people to do it. But doing missions like this, legendary missions, you can at least get groups for it. So it's kind of the hardest content you can play that's, groupable. And it just, at this point, it's very predictable for me. Doesn't mean that I don't have different ways to make it interesting for me. So when you get really good at something, that's always a potential pitfall, is nonchalance. Like, you don't take it as serious. You're not, we're about to wipe. This is normal when I said thank you for liking, subscribing, unsubscribing, resubscribing, hitting the notification, commenting, going to Discord. Well, there's one up. And we make it through there. This took us an hour to do. To put that in perspective, over an hour. Put that in perspective now, in general, I try to get you videos that are 15 minutes or less. This is still going to be a little bit long for that. So I've done a lot of editing. And what I'm going to show you in one of these kind of groups is that we just got guys that go down, or they don't know what the mission is or how to do the mission or whatever. We still get it done, so they're good players. The one guy's going to die because he just doesn't have all the watch skills up to level. So we were talking about complacency and how do you stay on top of your game when you've done it quite a bit. There's a tendency sometimes, if you go into a new office, people say, well, that's how we always did it. We always did it this way. Those people get so comfortable doing it in a certain way, they've forgotten to keep, checking their skills and seeing if it's the best way they could do things. And that's hard to overcome when you're new in the office because, you're kind of forced to do everything the way that the majority of people. Or you can buck everyone, but that has less than desirable results. This section is one of the sections where you get the 3 chungas. This is usually a DPS check. One of our people is dead. They went right through that hole and set up camp over there. I think it's really hard. I would do that maybe in a heroic, but not in a legendary. So we're talking about, changing the culture somewhere. It's not going to happen overnight. It might not happen at all. It's one of those things that might not even be worth doing to try to change everyone. You might be better just to, do what they want you to do, unless it's illegal or whatever. But those are some of the things that before you take a job, like a career type of job. I'm not talking about a job where if you're at a fast food place or you got a job that's a little bit over minimum wage, you're just trying to get into the system at that point. So at this point, I realize I'm going to have DPS. We end up taking care of these chungas, but I need to have a DPS build out there because we're intermittent on our DPS. But I was happy that we got these chungas down. So that's a really big thing to consider. You're good at something, you're very comfortable doing it, and how do you stay fresh? One thing I do is I have metrics on almost everything that I'm doing. In my job, I try to benchmark myself, see where I was at, and see if I can improve. If I'm not improving, why am I not improving? What things can I do better? What things can I learn? What new skills can I learn? And those are some of the things I try to do. One of the things that's now become repetitive for me. So you're going to see this guy goes down. He's the higher of the two. There's a clan DOG. And then his partner's going to go down here in a second. One of my repetitive tasks is making these videos. It's not repetitive in playing the game. It's repetitive in, I get a section and I cut it up. I haven't ever really made templates because I'm pretty quick now at getting a video out. But that's probably something I should work on doing now. Take my game to the next level, start doing some templates. And again, one of the guys rushed out and got smoked again. And this guy's done that quite a bit. It's frustrating, but it's not insurmountable. So, like I was telling you, everyone has those kind of things where they get skilled at. So I got some room to grow on my video editing, so you're about to get something new here in this video. I'm always looking at the aesthetic. I spent a while making a title bar in the bottom. It would have been good for this particular video. It's Ronin causing a bunch of different languages that look cool. I spent a little bit of time doing that, but I don't always put it in. Sometimes I don't know if it's obtrusive over the video. I try to put a lot of transparency on it. So this is the probably most important part of this map, because if you've gotten here in this instance, that means you just got to go through here. And you've seen me fail here before. The one thing, they start on the right side over there, and then they're going to rush on the left as soon as you clear these guys out. So I throw shock traps over on the left, and I'm going to move back and forth and pulse everything that I can. And right about now, those guys are probably rushing, and there they go. So down goes one of our guys. Now 2 guys are down. And I think I've mentioned before, this is one of those maps when you're on a team where when you're a higher level, you have to carry the team. It's not that these guys are bad players. They're not bad players. It's this, they don't have a lot of shield level. So they're gonna take more damage, etc., etc. So it's incumbent upon you to, I think, as a person with a higher score, the shield level, your build is more robust. You should be able to help carry them. So I've split the screen now, and one of the things that I've done is I've left a little space. I realize sometimes I don't leave that little space in between the 2 clips, and that can be a little bit annoying. So on the left, we just jumped over. On the right, we're going to throw turrets up and burn them down. And this is a good side-by-side comparison. So obviously, one of these went horribly wrong. And it's not going to... And there's Roxy on cue. Roxy. And one of the things that's going to be obvious which one fails. And this end phase is really a DPS on those 2 copters. And death's right here or behind the other containers are okay, but for whatever reason, this guy decides that he needs to, I don't know, go what. So he must never have done this before. You can see over on the right now I've switched to Seekers. Might be getting ready to throw up a sniper turret. Maybe not yet. Maybe I'm still using my attack turret. And I get him up and I come back over to my spot. I prefer this spot right here. It gives me, I used to throw my decoy. So when you're on the one on the left, you're always going to throw that decoy out, and that's the really main reason you can do this, because the copters start attacking the decoys. Otherwise they just missile you to death. So you bring the bear on tasks that your master's skill at. You bring all your experience. What's that guy doing? Sorry YouTube, and sorry sir or ma'am, or they, them. Why are you over there? So I'm going to have to go get him at a certain point. So we got to thin some things out. There's some Johnny Fives that are out there that will get you if you're not paying attention. And you can see there's a charger right there. The advantage of jumping over, you can see how far ahead we are on the left. It's a much quicker route to getting this done. There you saw the decoy up and it immediately takes fire. You see on the right, we jumped over and we made it to the boat. Now, and one of our partners didn't make it over on the right video. So the thing you're worried about here is obviously you want to stay alive, but there's going to be a chunga that comes. Once you kill that chunga, this is easy street. So I'm starting to set up with my turret in the back, and I will keep throwing out my decoy. Over on the left, you see we still don't have the copters down, and that's because we don't have a lot of DPS. There's only so much you can do. So this is not a solo game, so I can't readjust things. The build I have is about as best as I can get. The build on the right is a DPS build with a skill DPS build, and the build on the left is the Vial Jammer. So keeping focused when you have a lot of skills is that's a skill in and of itself. You may be one of those people that as soon as you master stuff, you're ready to move on, but then that means you're going through a lot of jobs. When people are hiring people and you go through a lot of jobs when you're younger, they don't always draw the right conclusions. You may be a person that says, you know, when I master a job, I'm going to move on. And that's great, but you got to understand that about yourself, so that you may be able to articulate that in an interview. So that's a big question. You're gonna fail at things sometimes, but the fails get less egregious, they get less penalties, they're smaller. Your margin of errors get larger, mistakes aren't so critical. In video games, you're gonna die unless it's a game where death is really penalized. You're still gonna die. There's hardcore modes, but there's ways to, we talked about that another time. If the game is stable, hardcore modes are really good, but you place a lot slower. You're never rushing. And that gets you to like a legendary like this, you would just take your time. There was a time when, earlier in the video where everyone went down, I'd get anxious that, but I don't get anxious now, especially in that beginning part. Who cares? It's, 3 or 4 minutes of wasted time. That's it. I did this for Destiny. I would do it for Diablo. If you're interested in, I would sure love to run content in Diablo and make videos with you. What's nice about Diablo is there's a lot of dungeons you can go to. And right now I'm in the Nightmare tier. And you get sigils that you can do a dungeon on, a little bit harder mode. I talked about a video. If you want to see a good video, it's Tribute. I talk about a video, a dungeon that Sloth Moons and I ran where it was 15 levels higher than me. The mobs were level 68. I was 53. We did pretty good. We didn't beat it, and we ended up quitting. But, I mean, it was insanely hard because they were so much higher than us. So if you wanted to cross-play, I'm on PC. If you want to cross-play, please maybe jump on the Discord and let me know what your battle.net tag is, and then we can friend, and then I'd sure love to play with everyone on YouTube and make videos with you. There's the Chunga. And you see we had a little mishap over on the left. And that's a bad spot. That's a sucker's bet back there. I don't think that's where you should play. All right, maybe I'm going to try to get... Oh. And I turn around and there's a guy rushing. And that's not good. And he kills my partner, and he's going to kill me. Well, YouTube... It's a sad state of affairs. Death, taxes, and fails. But we still have the right. Please like, subscribe, share, resubscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Thank you, YouTube. Appreciate it. This is Ronan Kazi signing off.